There's a specific feeling that doesn't have a good name. You do something remarkable. Maybe you solve a hard problem, watch a perfect sunset, or finally beat something that's been beating you for months. And then you go to tell someone and there's no one to tell. Or you tell someone and they don't quite get it. And the moment quietly deflates. Not with sadness exactly, with something stranger, something more hollow. This isn't loneliness. Loneliness is about connection. This is about something older and more fundamental, about what your brain actually does and stops doing when no one is watching. This is the neuroscience of being unseen. Your brain is not a passive recorder. It doesn't just log what happens to you like a camera, it decides what's worth keeping. And it makes that decision partly based on one question. Does this matter to anyone? This sounds philosophical. It isn't. It's biology. When you experience something significant, your hippocampus begins encoding it into long-term memory. But that process isn't automatic. It requires what neuroscientists call memory consolidation, a slow chemical reconstruction that takes hours, sometimes days, and it's heavily influenced by emotion, meaning, and repetition. Here's the part nobody talks about. One of the most reliable ways to trigger deep consolidation is telling someone what happened. The act of narrating an experience, choosing words, watching someone react, feeling understood, floods your brain with norepinephrine and dopamine. It signals to your hippocampus, this event was real, this event mattered, keep this. Without that signal, the memory fades faster. Not completely, but the edges blur. The feeling empties out of it. The thing you did stays on the record, but something about its weight quietly disappears. You don't just want a witness for emotional reasons. You need one for neurological ones. Humans are the only species that narrates their own life as it's happening. Even alone, you do it. You catch yourself mentally rehearsing what you'd say to a friend, composing the text you might send, framing your afternoon as a story, even with no audience yet. This internal narration is so constant that most people don't notice it, but neuroscience does. Brain imaging studies show that when people anticipate sharing an experience, the brain's reward circuitry activates before the sharing happens, during the experience itself. You don't just enjoy things and then report them. The reporting is baked into how you enjoy them in real time. Your brain is pre-encoding for an audience that hasn't arrived yet. This behavior has a name: social baseline theory. Your brain evolved to assume other humans are nearby. It runs its calculations, emotional, cognitive, even physical, assuming that cost and reward will be shared with people around you. When that assumption fails, when the social baseline drops out, your nervous system registers something close to threat. Not heartbreak, not grief, just a quiet, persistent wrongness, like a sum that doesn't add up. There's a particular kind of person who feels this most acutely, and they're not who you'd expect. It's not the isolated, it's the quietly invisible. People surrounded by others who still feel fundamentally unwitnessed. People who achieve things no one thinks to ask about. People who carry interior lives far richer than anything anyone around them has ever seen. The neuroscience here is precise and a little devastating. Studies on mattering, specifically the psychological experience of being significant to others, show that the absence of mattering activates the same neural regions as physical pain. The anterior cingulate cortex, the insula. Your brain does not distinguish cleanly between a broken arm and a broken sense of relevance. It processes both as damage. And unlike loneliness, which often has a clear cause and a clear solution, the experience of being unwitnessed can persist invisibly for years, because you can be surrounded, busy, even loved, and still have no one who sees the actual shape of you. So what do you do with this? The research suggests something both simple and genuinely hard. You have to become a partial witness to yourself. Journaling works. Not as therapy, but as neurology. The act of writing an experience in narrative form triggers many of the same consolidation pathways as verbal sharing. Your brain doesn't fully distinguish between telling a friend and telling a page. The signal still fires. This happened. this mattered. But there's something else, something even more fundamental. Knowing why this feeling exists changes your relationship to it. The hollow deflation after an unshared moment isn't weakness. It isn't neediness. It's your hippocampus doing exactly what it was built to do, searching for confirmation that your experience was real. You are not wired to exist unwitnessed. You were never meant to. The impulse to be seen isn't vanity. It's your brain asking the oldest question in human neuroscience. Did that count? And the answer, whether anyone saw it or not, is yes. It counted.